Up YouTube. So I'm gonna make this video today about the mistakes that I see entrepreneurs making time and time again. And let's just kick it off. I mean, I got two main things I'm gonna explain to you, but then at the end as well, really talk about like an ongoing plan so you can make sure that you prevent the mistakes from happening. Because right, it's one thing to just see the mistake and then deal with it. It's another thing to just prevent it from happening, right? It's like, imagine you're going full speed, or you're against someone who's going full speed, and then you're the one who takes a little break here and there. It's like over time that adds up, right? So let's help you be the person who's just staying at full speed ahead, sustainably over the long run. All right, so let's dive in. So, all right, with mistakes that entrepreneurs make. Well, first and foremost, many people don't even know what entrepreneur is, right? A lot of people claim that they're an entrepreneur, but they aren't actually that. So how I would classify an entrepreneur is someone who has a business and provides a real product or service that is given in exchange for money, and you run it. Right? You're the person calling the shots, right? That would be an entrepreneur. Now, you might be in an entrepreneurial type position in an organization, right? Or maybe you're an aspiring entrepreneur, but if you're not actually trading a product or service for money, you're not an entrepreneur. You're what I like to call a wantrepreneur. And that's fine, right? You might be in the process of thinking it through, or you're not sure exactly how to do it. And so this video is still going to help you because we're going to get into the main mistakes that people make. And first and foremost is you don't even know what an entrepreneur is. So that would be the first mistake, right? Because if you're not clear, you're not clear. And your starting point becomes your end point. So if your starting point is not clear, what the hell do you think is going to happen at the end, right? You're not even going to get to the real goal. So now let's dive into the real main kind of two things I want to discuss here. So the first is this concept. It's called 80-20. You've probably heard of it, but I'll put in a new light today. So it's in any given system, roughly 20% of the inputs are going to create 80% of the outputs. For example, in a garden, right, 20% of the plants will give you 80% of the fruit, and 80% of the plants will only give you 20% of the fruit or vegetables or whatever you're growing. Same thing in a business. If you have a team of salespeople, about 20% of your salespeople are going to get you 80% of the results, and vice versa. So this is the main thing I want to focus on here is for you, and I would write this down, is what are the 20% of activity or actions that I take that are getting me the most profit? Basically, what are my most profitable activities? And then really, really look at those. For example, it's probably going to be something like sales calls or sales conversations. Again, if you don't like sales or you aren't understanding sales, you're not an entrepreneur. The only reason business is alive and exists is because sales are made. I know you might like to look at the branding. You might like to look at the marketing. You might want to try and build the best funnel or the best logo or the best website. None of that stuff matters if sales are not being made. I love it when I talk to people. I'll go to events and they're like, oh, do you have a business card? I'm like, no, I'll just give you my number. And it's funny to see the look on people's faces because some people are like, wait, really? You don't have a business card? I'm like, yeah, I don't have a business card. I don't need a business card because I'm clear on what I'm here to do. I'm clear on my business. I know that out of every business card I've ever handed out in the past or ever received, there's none that I've actually used. Maybe one or two ever that came in handy because I forgot to get their number. I just get their number or they get my number and then we either meet up for coffee or we get on the phone. It's it, right? Don't overcomplicate it. So I'm clear on how I make money. It's awesome. And so that's what I would say the main mistake that people would make is you're not clear on the actual activity that makes you the money. So now, right, let's say it's like you figure out, okay, if I'm doing 5 sales conversations a week, that's what actually makes me the money. So like, yes, and there's a little bit more nuance. So like, how are you getting those conversations? Are all conversations equal, right? There might be a better type of person that you're talking to or, so on and so forth. Also, what are you doing to make sure your quote unquote axe is sharpened, right? Which is what I'm going to explain at the end of the video, how to sharpen that axe. So how do you make sure that your axe is sharp, metaphorically, right? Where you're on that call and you're able to be in the peak state or in your best mode so you can actually do your best with that prospective client, right? So that right there, that's that 20% that you want to really, really spend some time with and look at, right? And that is a huge mistake. And the broke people who watch this video, the people who don't actually run a business, the people who are entrepreneurs who just want to have the Ferrari on Instagram and all that BS, they're going to be the ones who just totally ignore that advice. right? And this is what I call trench knowledge. This is stuff I've learned from being on the front lines, right? Past week, I had one of my best weeks yet, right? Brought in over 10K into the business, right? In contract value. And it has been amazing to do that because I can look at that and I say, look, not just, I'm glad I did it. It's, I know why I did it. Okay. So that's a key part. All right. Here's another thing. Another mistake I see people make consistently that are trying to build a business, or they're building a business and it's growing, right? But they can't get to that next level, is you don't have a daily system of what you do, where it's very, very, very clear of what are you going to do every day, Monday through Sunday. And guess what? Maybe your Sunday, you take half a day off or whatever to recharge. Sure. All right. But make a system out of it. The people who are blinded, stumbling through life like a zombie, right? They are the ones that your business doesn't really grow. But when you got your system down and you know when you're going to eat, like think about this. Think how many people, guys especially, that don't know even what they're going to eat for lunch that day or dinner that day. Like I have that automated. Thankfully, I have an amazing wife. She makes me all the food. About once a month, I'll make one meal, and that's usually on the Sundays when it's my off day. And it's like I'll make like, I don't know, there's like a few things that it's kind of fun to do, but it's because it's a intentional activity where I'm breaking my patterns intentionally. So I'm not focused on the business. And I do that. It's like engineered very specifically. Also my wife's pregnant, and so sometimes she needs help with that, right? So it's like you have to be able to balance this. But I have a very specific thing I do every day, and it's not a rigid schedule per se. It's a mini day, and I have that mini day training in the 7-figure vault, which I'll talk about at the end of this video, how you can get access to that for free. It is stuff that has been explained to me by my mentors, the most successful mentors of mine who have made tens of millions of dollars. They do it because they know how to get multiple days of work done in a single day. So for you, right, what do you have to get done every day, right? What does your mornings look like? What does your lunch break look like? What does your afternoons look like? What does your evenings look like? When do you go to bed? How do you think about going to bed? How do you wake up in the morning? What are your first thoughts? All of that. A crippling mistake is you are not clear on that. And that is a red flag, right? And that I would not want to do business with somebody like that who is not clear on what they're doing. Again, it doesn't have to be hardcore rigid, but it's more of like a general, like, okay, I'm in this phase of the day. I'm in this phase of the day. So you're not checking emails all day long. You're not checking texts all day long. It's like, I'm making content right now. I have a specific time on my calendar where I make content. I'm not reading books right now. I'm not, sending messages to people. I'm not in meetings right now. That's how I've grown my business very well. Okay. So those are the two main things, the 80-20, and then knowing what you do every day, right? But there's one other really essential piece, and this is a big pattern, right? So have you ever noticed when you're working on an endeavor, business, project, whatever, you find yourself at times hitting a plateau where you're growing, right? And then you stagnate, okay? And then you may grow a little bit or maybe even go down, right? Here's what you got to do. You got to systematically, right? Meaning, like every day of the week or, weekly, there's like a certain time you do it. You got to systematically add new data, add new input, educate yourself, right? Education. When you're at a plateau, more education is required. So important. You will never plateau again if you can grasp this. But the thing is, getting the input in is not as easy as just reading a book or listening to a video. Because you have a conscious mind, which is like this force field around you. And it lets certain information in, and it doesn't let certain information in. And most of it is based on the words you actually understand at an automatic level. For example, when I was talking about 80-20, or I call it Pareto principle, some of you might be like, oh yeah, Pareto principle, I know that. Other people are like, Pareto, what? What principle? I think I know what principle means. That's what your mind's doing all day long. So if you don't know how to get information in, rapid input, high-speed learning, that, my friends, is of critical importance. And so here's my suggestion to you would be, for those of you who realize that, yes, you need to keep adding new input, the true statement that readers are leaders, leaders are readers, and you might think, wait, I heard Richard Branson was dyslexic. He can't read. Guess what? He can read patterns better than you. There's a reason that he has, multiple billion-dollar companies. So it's not just reading books. That's a very low vocabulary definition of reading. Reading means reading patterns, reading people, reading trends, being able to actually even listening to information is a form of reading. You looking at this video right now and handling it, right, and processing it, that is a form of reading. And so, right, my suggestion to you would be for those of you who like this and find this valuable, check out the 7-figure vault. You'll love it. It's free. It's the best like tactical trainings I have and notes that I've taken and all the stuff I've done to become a successful entrepreneur. So you don't have to make the same mistakes that I did, because I wasted a lot of time. And my goal is to have more people out there as thriving entrepreneurs so we can actually create a better world instead of spiraling into the chaos that we see in the world right now. And the future is going to be more and more fast paced. So you better be ready for it. And I do my best to make my channel, my content, all of that set up so that you can take it and run with it. And then down the road, we can collaborate on projects together, because that's going to be amazing what's to come. All right. So thanks for watching. Share this if you found this helpful. Subscribe, check out the 7-Figure Vault. And I look forward to connecting with all y'all in the near future. All right. See ya.